before I show you the remains that we have here, let's have a quick look on this one and tell a little bit about the history, how this came all about. Here we have the map of Mainz as it is nowadays, and round here we have a little sort of square where originally the Romans built their first camp for 2 legions, that is 12,000 Roman soldiers. At this time there was practically nobody, no Germans or whoever were there before, the Celts were there, but they had this stronghold here because the Rhine was at that time the border before Caesar, the famous Caesar, had conquered this place anyway, and they wanted to have here at the where the Main comes into the Rhine, they wanted to have a stronghold, so to observe all this, make it now as this developed, of course, people came to make business with Romans because they needed food, they needed clothing, all that could be provided partly by veterans of the Romans themselves, but also by people who lived somewhere in the vicinity here, and that attracted the thing. And very soon we have a little village. And in this village we find something that was by chance discovered. By chance discovered when they built this building in 1999. They found some strange walls. In the beginning they didn't know what it was at all, but then helpful, they found a lot of other things that were exhibited around here. And the surprising thing was, though they were Romans, these people prayed to 2 goddesses that were not Roman goddesses, but they were Isis from Egypt and Magna Mater, goddess from Asia Minor, nowadays Turkey. So very strange that 2 goddesses of this kind were worshipped here in this case. And you have to go back into the history and find out. Partly you know about things because you find stones or interesting objects, but partly also you go back into written history, and there was a lot of written history, and so they could find out, oh yes, the Romans did pray to these goddesses. And what was the reason? Because in Roman religion there is no life after death. Once you're dead, you go in the underworld and everything is finished. And here, these beliefs of Isis and Magna Mater were so that you could be reborn again, you know? And that is something people always are interested in. It gives them hope in life, of course.
Yes.
No? So, that was something. So now let's go to the exhibitions. How did they find out that this temple was here? Very simple. Here we have 2 plays on which the names of the goddesses are written in the 3rd line. Here you see Magna Mater, and here says ICD, which is a 3rd case of Isis. So this is Isis, and she is, look here, called Panthea. And Panthea means goddess of love. So she was thought of to be something like the goddess mother. There is a very famous saga about Isis and Osiris, her husband, that they 2 were ruling Egypt at that time, and Osiris was killed by his brother, and Isis could bring him back to life again. And that is the origin of the belief that she can bring people back to life. And so that in the cases of Magna Mater, something very similar happened also. It was, one could say, her lover, you know, would go astray, and she would be, first he killed himself, you know, but she brought him back to life again. So again, we have the same kind of saga. Now, here we have something very interesting that tells you about the time where the temple was built, because here is a name that is called Spasani, and it's called Vespasian, and he is a Roman emperor. So he orders in this text the temple to be built. So, here we are again.
It's exciting.
He ruled between 69 and 79. So in that time, this was founded, and this is beautiful for the archaeologists, because normally, they find something, like a cup, and then they say, oh, cup 1st century. So it must be somewhere in the 1st century. But here, they have it in detail what it was. It's quite good. Okay, here we have small altars for now to this building. That is quite interesting. Most of the people will think, well, this is the temple. No, it was not the temple. Where the people prayed was very simple. There were very little altars, almost looking like this, but they were bigger in the ground, and there were holes in the ground. And whatever they sacrificed, now if you want something of a god or goddess, usually you give sacrifices, Even in the Christian religion in the beginning, would offer a lamb or something like that. So they would offer things too, and they would put it into holes in the ground. And happily, these things are found, and you will see them all around here. In a few minutes, I'll let you to do this by yourself. I have a little booklet that you can see about everything. Now, just let me tell you about this building. It was a building where people would congregate, let's say, after they worshipped, and they would have a meal together or something like that. And then again, some objects which they needed when they would do a procession in town, they would be stored in here. This was a 2-story building. This is sort of the basement. And on this was another story where actually people would be meeting, And over there, most likely also altars were put on the side. As this is in the ground, you don't really see an entrance, and also the walls are like that. It doesn't really open. But that is an important part too. Then something else they have also found, the archaeologists, even older than this, was a tomb with a Celtic lady. She must have been a lady of higher birth, because the things that were with her are of some importance, She seems to be quite tall. Actually, they measured the bones that they still had, and they found out that she must have been almost as tall as I am.
Wow.
So she was a giant lady. Yes. And the date they found, because, see, they have wood here, and nowadays they have one method, to know about the wood, or 2 methods, actually. The one is the carbon-14 method, you know it, and the other is the one with the rings of the tree. The tree. In that method here, they could state it was between 630 and 50 before Christ. So this is very old. And it was exactly here where this temple stood. I can give you the details. Here, this round thing. See, the old Celts would bury the important people on the ground of a mound, which they put on top of it, and this they could still find. Now here, this is the whole excavation that is as big as the whole building site here. This is about 1,000 feet, about. This is feet. So, this is where the situation was. Now I should show you one. Maybe this is interesting for you. You can see where a lady comes to a priest, and she gets a little figure made, sort of like a voodoo doll. But this was actually for, what do you call it? A magic, love magic, And then, before it really starts, I'll tell you very quickly, there are some lead foils or lead leaves made out of lead, and things are written on it, and these are, what do you call it in English? They condemn a person which has been doing something bad. And as women or slaves could not go to jury, it was their only method to give this to the gods and hope that
like a curse.
Like a curse, exactly. Now have a look at this and take this along. Everything, you'll see it in the pages. All this is shown, and it's showing the explanation here. Have fun.
Thank you.
Where are you from? I make ask.
We actually live here in Brisbane.
Yeah, no, but originally.
Originally, Washington, D.C.
USA.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.